Hey everyone, and welcome back to the channel. Today we're traveling back in time to ancient Rome. But seriously, today's topic is one of those historical rabbit holes I just can't get enough of. We're talking about emperors who barely had time to warm the imperial throne before it was ripped out from under them. Get ready to uncover the stories of 10 Roman rulers who fell from power faster than you can say Veni Vidi Vici. Buckle up, because we're diving into a whirlwind of intrigue, assassination, and seriously bad luck. This is Rome's fastest falls emperors you never knew. Before we get into the nitty-gritty of individual emperors, let's talk about why ancient Rome had such a high turnover rate for its leaders. Political assassination wasn't exactly a new invention, and in Rome it was practically an art form. The Roman Empire was vast, powerful, and constantly grappling with internal and external pressures. Think border revolts, economic crises, power-hungry generals. It was a recipe for instability, and let's not forget the Praetorian Guard, the emperor's supposed protectors who had a nasty habit of deciding who got to wear the purple. These guys were like the ultimate kingmakers, and sometimes they seemed to change their minds as often as their tunics. In this context, it's almost a miracle that any emperor managed to die of natural causes. They offer a glimpse into the precarious nature of power in ancient Rome, where even reaching the top couldn't guarantee you'd stay there for long. Now, you might be thinking, John, how did you even choose which short-reigned emperors to feature in this video? And it's a fair question. So, to narrow it down, we had to set some criteria. First and foremost, we were looking for speed. We wanted emperors whose reigns were so short they'd make your head spin. Second, we wanted to shine a light on some of the lesser-known figures in Roman history. And finally, we were looking for stories that were just plain interesting. Intrigue, betrayal, bizarre circumstances, the kind of stuff that makes you want to grab your toga and say, "Tell me more!" Our first emperor is a man who took the phrase "money talks" to a whole new level. I'm talking about Didius Julianus, the guy who literally bought the Roman Empire at an auction. It all went down in 193 AD after the assassination of Emperor Pertinax. Rome was in chaos, and the Praetorian Guard decided to capitalize on this situation. They basically put the empire up for sale to the highest bidder. Enter Didius Julianus, a wealthy senator with more money than sense. He saw his chance to become emperor and went all in, outbidding everyone else with a ludicrous sum of money. The Praetorians, delighted with their newfound riches, declared him emperor. So, Didius Julianus had achieved his lifelong dream. There was just one small problem: pretty much everyone hated him. The Roman people were outraged that their empire had been sold off to the highest bidder. The Senate considered him an illegitimate ruler. And the Praetorian Guard, well, they had their money, but they weren't exactly known for their loyalty. To make matters worse, Didius Julianus wasn't exactly what you'd call a natural leader. He was indecisive, unpopular, and completely out of his depth. He tried to buy the people's love with lavish games and handouts, but it was too little, too late. The other shoe dropped when Septimius Severus, a powerful general, marched on Rome with his legions, determined to claim the throne for himself. The Senate, sensing which way the wind was blowing, promptly sentenced Didius Julianus to death. After a mere 66 days as emperor, he was dragged from the palace and executed. Remember Pertinax, the emperor whose assassination paved the way for Didius Julianus's ill-fated purchase of the empire? Well, his story is worth a closer look. Pertinax's story is a true rags-to-riches tale. Born into a humble family, he rose through the ranks of the Roman military and government through sheer hard work and determination. He served as a soldier, a senator, and even a provincial governor, earning a reputation for honesty and competence. In 193 AD, after the assassination of Emperor Commodus, Pertinax was the obvious choice to succeed him. He was experienced, respected, and perhaps most importantly, he wasn't Commodus. The Senate, desperate for stability, quickly proclaimed him emperor. Pertinax's reign started off promisingly enough. He implemented reforms, tried to restore discipline to the army, and generally seemed like the kind of emperor Rome desperately needed. But his good intentions would ultimately be his undoing. Pertinax's attempts to rein in the excesses of the Praetorian Guard didn't exactly make him popular with, well, the Praetorian Guard. They were used to a life of luxury and privilege under Commodus, and they weren't too keen on Pertinax's penny-pinching ways. So after a mere 86 days in power, a group of disgruntled Praetorians stormed the imperial palace, intent on replacing Pertinax with someone more accommodating. Pertinax, caught off guard but unwilling to back down, confronted the mutinous guards. According to some accounts, he even managed to kill a few of them before being overwhelmed and killed. Our next emperor is a man who proves that age is just a number, even when it comes to ruling the Roman Empire. I'm talking about Gordian I, who was declared emperor at the ripe old age of 80. Gordian's path to the purple was about as unexpected as it gets. He wasn't a general, a senator, or even particularly involved in Roman politics. In fact, he was living a quiet life of retirement in Africa when fate came calling. A revolt broke out in Africa, and Gordian, being a respected figure in the region, was reluctantly persuaded to lead it. Gordian, perhaps to his own surprise, found himself acclaimed as emperor by the rebels. He appointed his son Gordian II as co-emperor, figuring two heads were better than one. Initially, things seemed to be going swimmingly for the Gordians. The Senate, eager to be rid of Maximinus Thrax, threw their support behind the new emperors, but their joy was short-lived. Maximinus Thrax wasn't exactly the type to take a coup lying down. He gathered his legions and marched on Rome, determined to reclaim his throne. Meanwhile, Gordian I and II found their support dwindling faster than a senator's wine supply during a particularly raucous party. In a tragic turn of events, Gordian II was defeated and killed in battle against forces loyal to Maximinus Thrax. Gordian I, upon hearing the news of his son's death, was so overcome with grief that he took his own life. Our next emperor, Pupienus, found himself in the unenviable position of trying to steer the Roman ship of state during a hurricane. His claim to fame: he was one half of the only joint emperorship in Roman history. That's right, he shared the purple with a guy named Balbinus. Now, Pupienus and Balbinus weren't exactly best friends. In fact, they were rivals, both appointed by the Senate in a desperate attempt to restore order after the whole Gordian debacle. Pupienus, a seasoned military man, was tasked with dealing with the external threats to the empire, namely the still rampaging Maximinus Thrax. You can probably guess that a joint emperorship born out of crisis and mutual suspicion wasn't exactly a recipe for long-term stability. Pupienus and Balbinus, despite their best efforts, just couldn't seem to get along. They bickered constantly, undermined each other's authority, and generally acted like a couple of toddlers fighting over a toy. The Roman people, understandably confused and fed up with the constant turmoil, weren't exactly thrilled with their new leadership duo. And the Praetorian Guard, those arbiters of taste and political stability, were growing increasingly impatient with the whole situation. To make matters worse, Pupienus and Balbinus underestimated the enduring popularity of the Gordians, particularly among the common people of Rome. The Praetorian Guard, sensing an opportunity to back a winner, decided to capitalize on the public's sentiment. They stormed the imperial palace, dragged Pupienus and Balbinus from their chambers, and brutally murdered them. So there you have it. 10 Roman emperors who learned the hard way that power, especially in ancient Rome, was a fickle and fleeting thing. Their stories, though often tragic and brutal, offer us a glimpse into a fascinating and tumultuous period of history. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed learning about these rapid falls from power, don't forget to like, share, and comment below. Let me know which emperor's story you found most surprising, or if there are any other obscure historical figures you'd like me to cover. And make sure to subscribe to our channel for more fascinating historical content. Until next time, keep exploring, keep learning, and remember, sometimes the most compelling stories are the ones history tries to forget.